It's the fan phone in. Good evening, one and all. Hope you're all right. Well, just one loss in the last five, and with me to talk about how Luton Town are going up the leagues from the heady heights of 23rd to 23rd. It's my co-host. It's Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Mark?
I'm going to tell you something is on now. It really is on now.
Yeah, watch out,
Um,
Leeds. I think it's the title decider next match.
Look, we can only talk about where we are in context of the last few games, and you'd be crazy not to be optimistic after watching the last three performances, and the two wins and a draw that really should have been three wins. It's still going to be tough. Of course it is, because we've left ourselves so much to do in such a short amount of time. We all know that. No one thinks it's guaranteed to happen at all. But what Bloomfield has showed is he's pulled that team together. We can fight for stuff. We've got a decent defence. And I'm feeling optimistic. Maybe that's the wine, but I'm definitely feeling optimistic. I thought we played quite well, to be honest, for an away day game. Obviously, the goal was hilarious. We need to talk about that in a bit, but
Fantastic goal.
what a fantastic goal that was. I mean, if you're Hull, right, you've got to be thinking out of the two games that we've got 6 points from, where they missed about four open goals and hit the post from 3 yards in the home leg, and then two defenders conspired to smack it against each other to go in the goal for you've just got to think. I know that curses aren't apparently real in football, but Hull's record against us is appalling, right? Absolutely appalling. So yeah, brilliant.
We got their
Um,
number. We got Hull's
we
number
really
in it.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really do. Yeah, I'm feeling optimistic. That's all I'll say. I'm feeling optimistic.
Yeah, damn this optimism.
Yeah,
It
I know.
just won't go away. It won't go away. But you know what? All the teams around us just keep winning. They keep winning, and it's so frustrating. And one thing, unrelated to the whole match, but I discussed in the Luton Town show that we recorded in the Bricklayers Arms. I want your thoughts on it. I asked Wedge's thoughts. We also had Ollie from Teams Like Luton. You'll notice him on Champ Chat. He'll also be on the Luton Town show. The accounts from 23-24, they have not been released yet. And that is quite alarming, considering they have to be published by tomorrow. Otherwise, Luton Town face a penalty and could be subjected to an EFL embargo. So, where are we at with this? Do you think they are withholding the accounts because they're terrified about like how big the bonuses are that they've been paid? What are your thoughts on this?
Maybe. But we've been here before. I feel like we always leave the accounts to the last minute. I swear this conversation has come up over the last few
No, we
seasons
leave
before as
transfer
well.
business to the last minute.
Well, we
The
leave
accounts are
both.
always
Leave
prompt.
both. I'm pretty sure the accounts were last minute last time as well. But look, I may be wrong on that one. But look, they're going to publish them. I don't see them. I don't see them taking a penalty or an embargo for something like that. It's not like you know, the days of old. We're not under Gurney anymore, despite the fact that 2020 have got a fair bit to answer for this season. No, I'm not. I'm not worried about that. Yes, are we paying players a lot of money? Yes, probably. And it'll be eye-watering considering where we are in the league, and no one's going to be happy when they read them. I'm almost certain of that.
It's even worse
Um,
because these are the accounts from last season as well.
yeah, yeah, of
It's
course.
yeah, they're done in arrears.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, am I worried about it? No, not at the moment. Obviously, if it doesn't go out tomorrow, then yeah, I think people will be concerned. But no, I don't think so. And like I said, I feel like we've been last minute on this before. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I'm not worried about that yet.
Yeah, there's time to get worried, isn't there? There is
Mm,
time. There
there
is
is,
time.
there is.
Yeah. So we got a few people queuing up. We'll go to Christian, and we'll go to Simon, then we'll go to Ash. Reminder: if you want to call in, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also in the description below the video of me and Mark looking handsome. So yeah, just jump on and wait, and we will get to you as soon as we can. We'll try and get through everyone tonight. Good evening to everyone in the chat. Good to have you all along. Phil, good evening. Manchester is blue. Hi, mate. Hi, Simon. We'll get you on soon. But let's should jump in and get Christian on, shall we?
Let's bring him in. I've got him. There we go.
I think we did that in tandem. That was very nice. Good evening, Christian. How you getting on?
Good evening. I'm getting on.
It is a good evening.
Yeah, still a little bit tired. Obviously, mentioned in the Discord. Been a busy weekend for me. Had to call 3 baseball games in the span of 2 days, and that's tiring as it is. But thankfully, we were able to wake up in time, watch Luton Town, play Hull, and very happy with the result. Of course, to win now 3 of our last 5, and the only loss in that stretch be to Burnley, which it's Burnley. What do you expect? They're doing what Burnley does. They win. Well, they win at this level. They lose at the Premier League, and they come back down, repeat, wash and rewash every single season, it seems. But we played good, and I like where we're at. Matt Bloomfield has gotten this club into some good form, and what we're seeing now is certainly a lot more inspiring than what was happening under Rob Edwards, because it felt like under Edwards there was just never any inspiration. It was always, if we won, we did not deserve to win whatsoever. But with how Bloomfield has gotten this club playing the last 5 matches, the fact that we drew one of those matches, I think, is a little bit disappointing. But to have 10 points in the last 5, it's very, very exciting. I'm also very optimistic about what we can do in the last 7 if Bloomfield can keep this club going in the right direction. And eventually the clubs around us, they can't always win. Eventually we're going to win, and they're not going to. We're going to get out of the zone, and maybe, just maybe, we can forget all about that come later there in April.
How many more games do you reckon we have to win, Christian? Sorry, Mark.
Well, looking at the 2 clubs above us, which Cardiff and Derby, really the 2 that you're probably going to think, if we're going to jump anybody, it's going to be those 2. I think with how the matches line up for everybody's next match, I think if we can get something against Leeds, we'll probably jump Derby. But we're probably going to need to win, I would say, at least 3 of the 6 after Leeds to have a realistic shot, just because the clubs around us, they've had some good luck, but that luck can't go on forever, and eventually they're going to trip up. And I believe Cardiff has QPR next, and Derby has Preston next. I don't see either one of them winning that match, but I don't see us being Leeds either, so I don't think we're going to jump them
talking about
next
luck,
match
Christian,
cycle.
Did you not see the goal that we scored yesterday?
No, I saw it, and I have no words about that. The fact that we managed to win 1-0 and didn't even put the ball into the net by ourselves, it became because of an own goal. From how a lot of you talk about Luton, that seems like prime Luton behavior, to just not score and still win. But it's all about luck. The luck's going our way right now, and hopefully the clubs around us are done winning when we do, because that's a little bit disheartening to not gain any ground.
Well, we gained 2 points, and it was looking a hell of a lot worse at half-time in those scores, so I'm pretty pleased with the results and how they went. I would add to this, I know, Ollie, in your post-match, you said you reckon the early 50s. I'd go lower than that, because, not because I disagree with you, really, about how the club's forms are, but they've got to play each other. A lot of the teams above us can't get a certain amount, because I think it's Stoke play Derby on the last game of the season. Cardiff have still got to play one of them as well. Can't remember whether it's Stoke or it's Hull, but it's one of them. I think it's Stoke. So they've got to play each other still, which automatically reduces that point total. I agree with Christian. I think it's at least 3. maybe not quite as much as 4, but 3 and a draw might just about do it. But yeah, it's going to be squeaky bum regardless of what happens, isn't it? Can I add? Do you think, Ollie and Christian, do you think QPR are safe? Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure
They
QPR are
gotta
safe.
be. They gotta be safe.
No, I
QPR
don't
is
think so.
15th. They're
Yeah.
15th. To
They're
say
in the
that they're
worst
not
form.
safe,
Hold on.
to say
Just
they're not safe is madness. No,
Oh crikey!
QPR.
They're only on 45 points. I didn't even notice
thank
that.
you. They're 45 points, Christian. They are in the worst form of the entire league. I think they've lost 6 of the last 7 games. So it's a question anyway. I didn't say the word, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I said this about Oxford a couple of weeks ago, and they've dropped like a stone as well. I certainly don't think they're safe. I think they're now on the same points as Stoke, which is about four points away from us. It's just a question. I feel like them and Blackburn seem to be losing every single game at the moment.
I'd love it.
Yeah, but
Blackburn
like
got
that just
relegated.
seemed. Yeah, but QPR and Blackburn always seeming to drop like rocks towards the end of the season. Just kind of seems to be prime Blackburn and QPR behavior. So I don't think QPR is in any realistic danger, just because who is going to jump them? All of the sides, really in the bottom third of the table, especially. Yeah, they might be close on points, but they are all just so tragic. The fact that we've gotten 10 in our last 5 is really about the only bright side that's coming out of this bottom third of the table. Everyone else is just awful.
But Ryman, you raised an interesting point. We're only 7 points behind QPR.
We are.
The way I mentioned this on the Luton Town show as well. That's dropping tomorrow, by the way, probably 3 p.m. the usual time on a Monday. Will, formerly of Luton Facts and Figures, now Hatters Heritage Trustee. He does a lot of analysis, and from the way he's put it, he thinks it's going to be like 50-ish points, and he also thinks we need to obtain 14 points from our remaining 7 games, so 2 points per game territory to have
It's
any
what we're on
chance of being
roughly at the
safe.
moment,
Yeah,
isn't it? We're sort of on form in the last sort of 5 games. I think we're on 2 points a game.
but can we maintain it? That's the thing.
Well, that's a very, very good question. Lots of tough home games. It will depend. I'll tell you what, I don't know about anyone else, but I was really cheering on West Brom. Unfortunately, they lost against Norwich, because one thing we need definitely is for West Brom to have a secure playoff place before we play them on the last game of the season.
Or to be
I
missing
know
out.
or to be guaranteed missing out, but I
Mhm.
can't see that happening because nobody around there wants to win a game of football.
No.
So I'm desperate for them to gain some points as well. I guess my biggest concern in terms of teams around us as well is that the Preston and Sheffield Wednesday factors, they're the ones that are playing the most games of teams around us, and Preston have just got, well, in the end hammered. They played quite well in the first half. You watched the FA Cup game, but nothing to play for. Sheffield Wednesday, I think, were very lucky to get a draw against Cardiff. Cardiff were all over them for most of that game. So that's my main concern, really, is the impact that they will have on the teams around us, because they clearly don't have anything to play for at all now.
Yeah, teams on the beach. Christian, any last thoughts before we boot you and get our next caller in?
Yeah, whether we stay up or go down, whatever happens is going to happen. None of us here talking about it have any control of what happens. Matt Bloomfield will be the manager that's going to get Luton back to where they belong. Whether we go down and spend all of next season just being mediocre in League One, year 2 in League One, I would pick us to go top the table. If we end up staying up, I think next season's going to be a whole lot better. Don't necessarily think we'll get to promotion playoffs or even near automatics, but it's going to be a season that we say, okay, we didn't have anything to play for this season. We didn't think we were going to go down. We didn't worry about what's going to happen if we go up. And then the season after that, we can think about getting back to the Premier League. Just no matter what, Matt Bloomfield, I think, is the man that's going to right the ship and fix a lot of what was going wrong with Luton Town before Rob Edwards was dismissed.
Well said. Well said.
Agree.
Yeah. I also am inclined to agree. Thank you very much, Christian. Appreciate you, mate. Have a good evening.
You too.
Yeah, he raises a good point there because essentially I see what Bloomfield's done, and yes, obviously it takes time. You know, we've seen that at Colchester, and it was Colchester, wasn't it? Colchester and then Wickham. It took like 2 months for him to really get to grips with the playing squad and get them playing, you know. Imagine if we just brought him in 2 months earlier or gotten rid of Rob Edwards. Like, essentially, he's done what a Warnock would do. Made us hard to beat, hard to play against, not conceding too many goals. Not much going on the other ends, but that's down to the strikers, really.
Yeah, that is. It's not as if chances. Yeah, exactly what you said. We're creating chances. I mean, it was like a class with a substitute teacher under Edwards. Everyone could do whatever the hell they wanted to do without any repercussions or anything else. We've got some organisation and some accountability now. I hope Jones is fit because I don't want to see Chong out on that right wing back side again. I can tell you that much.
No.
Imagine how that conversation went.
Yeah, like imagine how bad he must think Ruel Walters and Daiki Hashioka are. Like, not to have either of them in there. Yeah, well,
certainly with Ruel Walters, he's a liability. But anyway,
yeah,
I agree with you. They don't look like they're getting back in the side, and Victor Moses is literally on the beach himself by the looks of things.
I know. Meanwhile, you know, spending 20k a week at least on him. Can you imagine it? It's an all right life, isn't it? Well, it's just more Dolce & Gabbana shoes for Mr. Moses. Yeah,
certainly is.
Yeah, indeed. Right, we've got our next caller in. It's hashtag in Tom Lockyer we trust, Twitter's most wanted. How are we getting on, Simon?
It's a lot calmer now, mate. Not so many people care anymore when you're near the bottom of the championship.
So what do you make of what's going on, mate?
I'm happy. I'm happy at the minute. I'm as I said on Twitter, I think this is our best patch of form since 22-23. Because we didn't put together any back-to-back wins in the Premier League away or anything of that measure. I'm quite happy.
It's our best run of form actually since this season. With the same amount of points from 5 games as we did between Millwall and Watford as well.
Right, time to better that in the next game then.
Yeah, well, exactly. Look, we got to go one further, you know, because I'll say it though, those performances, the only one of those 5 that were actually any good was the Watford game. Other than that, the Millwall game was all right. It was a good away performance. The Sheffield Wednesday game, we did not deserve anything from that. And what happened after Sheffield Wednesday, I can't even remember. The season's just slowed into one horrendous performance after another, really. But so you're positive, Tom. You're positive side.
I'm happy, man. Listen, from when I've supported Luton, our fundamental is we are hard to break down. Being tough to score against for me is one of our core character identities. And I do truly believe that. And when I see players like Makosso, who, by the way, has been just a unit, what a find from the second division in Belgium he came from, innit? I heard Lewis say something earlier on, Lewis Williams. I watched a bit of his live analysis. and he was talking about how it's important to really only judge a player when he's in a Luton shirt and not really from where they were before. And I thought that was a really good point, because I don't think any of us would have had Makosso coming into the team like he has and putting out these kind of performances. So it's wonderful to see. It feels like we know what we're doing at the back again. It feels like Kaminsky now trusts what's in front of him, and he seems far more confident because of it. Wonderful seeing Kaminsky actually not on his line and collecting balls and keeping an eye out for the balls over the top behind the defence. I thought that was probably one of his best games of the season. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I thought, and although they're not scoring, right, I thought Carlton Morris in that second half, I thought he was great. I thought
He was
that
brilliant.
was a good performance from Carlton Morris, and we should highlight that too.
I'm completely with you here. I think the problem is, I think we're too preoccupied trying to compare Carlton Morris and Eli to last season and the season before. It's not going to happen. But if we look at how they've done, I think Carlton had a good game against Borough. And I think he had an excellent second half. He had a really poor first half, or really poor is probably harsh, but he won everything in the air second half. He held the ball up as well, and he was in the right positions. I honestly, I feel much more confident about our two strikers, both of them actually. I thought Eli took his chance as well as he could have done and was quite unlucky that he hit the post. You could argue he should have scored, but at least he had a decent shot. And he won us a couple of corners like he always used to do down the channels as well. Not perfect, but it's definitely better than it has been for those two.
Oh yeah.
Well, while you're both
Definitely.
entitled
It's
to your
good to see a
opinions,
plan.
I'll say this. I'll say this about Carlton Morris. He's not scoring any goals. You want your striker to score flipping goals. He
Yes,
can't hit. He
obviously.
can't hit the target. He can't.
Listen, in the situation we've been in, everyone needs to pitch in, right? It's true. We want our strikers to score goals. That's a given. But you can see so much positive progression in the team that I hope that Morris does get a goal against Leeds, because that Leeds goalkeeper, he is
Oh, he's shaky. He's shaky.
Yeah,
But the thing is, he could drop
waiting.
it at the feet of Carlton Morris or Elijah Adebayo. They'd still stick it over the bar.
But this is going to be a game where they could get one of those goals. This could be one of those games. It's going to be really tough against Leeds. Let's not get it twisted. But we have to test the goalkeeper, because their goalkeeper is clearly a weak link.
I mean, look, I just add to that. Look, finishing product is obviously important as strikers. We all know that, and we're at the bottom of the league. I don't think, they're suddenly going to find that. But what we're saying is there is a massive improvement in the overall play, and there definitely has been. I mean, Eli actually struck the ball properly for a start when he hit the post. Carlton Morris, you're right, those 2 free kicks were appalling finishes when you think back to Everton last season. But again, that's comparing a very different player. But he was running at players and he did win the ball a lot. Without him, the ball would have been at the other end of the pitch far more often. We were really under no pressure at all against Hull. And a lot of that was our excellent defence that's already been highlighted by Si, but a lot of it was also down to people like Carlton keeping it at the right end of the pitch as well. And that's going to be huge for us. Absolutely huge. Yeah, we need to score more goals, obviously, and we can't rely on free cone goals as well. But I'm only comparing them to them this season, and I think we're seeing improvement. So there's definite room for optimism. But you're right, we do have to see some end product at some point. But more chance it comes now than there were 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was.
Yeah,
sorry,
definitely.
I just saw something in the comments here. Carlton's flick on directly led to the goal. Okay, long ball. Carlton flicked it on to Elijah. Elijah
On it.
laid it off to Owen Coyle, who slammed it into Alfie Jones. It went in the net. It was just
Top
a passage of play.
Brilliant goal.
Let's not all nosh off Carlton Morris because he won a flick on.
No, I get what you're saying, Ollie, but at the end of the day, you've got to start the improvement somewhere in order to get back to a decent form.
He had a few
as
shots. He
Mark said,
he blazed them wide. He blazed them over the
as
bar.
Mark
Left
said,
foot, right
right,
foot.
look, I get ya, I hear you, I do, but I also agree with Mark that you've got to compare it to how they've been this season. And I do think
Has
Carlton
it
Morris
got
was
to
a lot
this
better.
point? Has it got to this point where we're accepting
Been at
below
that point for
subpar mediocrity, where
Honestly,
just
we're
because they're able
4
to
weeks
strike
ago,
a
look at our
ball properly,
conversation.
they're able to strike a
Look at our
ball properly, that
conversation.
we're saying we're saying, oh yeah, that's an improvement just because he can hit a ball without rupturing his Achilles or something, like Shandon Baptiste. Like,
I get what you're
has it
saying.
gotten that bad?
23rd. Listen, we're 23rd. Yeah, of course it has. How have you not been looking for the last 6 months? We're 23rd in the league. Of course it's got that bad. We need to make the right comparisons between the in terms of where we're at. But look, that flick on was him winning a header, and it led to a dangerous chance. Adebayo could have flicked it more in the past. I think it was Asgard that was running onto it, right?
Yeah.
But that was a dangerous chance. It was led to by him being strong, not being outmuscled, which we've seen loads this season, which is crazy to see Carl Morris outmuscled. Second half, that didn't happen once. So all I'm saying is that, you know, I wasn't nervous. Okay, that's a lie. I was nervous, but I shouldn't have been. A neutral wouldn't have been nervous for Luton, right? Because he was able to keep the ball where it should have been. Now, I don't disagree with anything you're saying about being able to hit the target, but the long and short of it is, what are our choices? I'm sorry, but Nordas is not it. If you think he's going to play any better than those two from the minutes that we've seen, he doesn't even know where the ball is. And I'm not blaming him for that. He's on pre-season and he needs some time to bed in. But for me, it's Carlton and Ali or Carlton and Eli are our only choices between now and the end of the season. So that's what we've got. And we've just got to hope that those improvements lead to more end product, right?
Let's
I
hope
really don't mind.
Yeah. Sorry,
Let
Si.
me
I was
quickly
just
say.
saying. No, I hope Nordas's pre-season isn't as long as our pre-season. Didn't ours only our season only got started in game
Last week,
game
yeah.
35.
I don't mind starting with Eli and Morris because I think that Ali does have an impact coming off the bench. I think when you do bring him on for one of them, it does cause things to be a bit different at the top of the field. I like him. I do like Ali. I think that he's been one of our better signings along with Asgard. It seems like there was some actual thought put into signing those two players rather than just a scattergun approach. And I like him. And I don't mind how it's going up there at the minute. And obviously we need some more goals. But I think that is the best tactic we have to try and make that happen at the moment. Jordan Clark, by the way, oh my word, has he silenced his haters? Fair play, Jordan Clark. I've been impressed with him in recent weeks, and he deserves his props.
I didn't think he was that great yesterday.
Honestly,
Honestly,
but
but
hey,
Jordan
hey.
Clark's
Right?
become important.
A couple of
Yeah.
wins. I'm expecting us to be like Liverpool, aren't I?
Yeah.
Champagne ole.
Yeah, we're gonna out ticky tacker Leeds on Saturday. You watch.
Yeah,
I mean,
with
he did
5% of the ball.
I think him and Asgard didn't have as much of the play as they had done in previous games. I think their midfield, particularly in the first half, won that. You know, they played through the thirds better in their midfield, and they lost the impetus in the second half, which is credit to us as well. I think the midfield has been good. My worry is that we haven't got that player defensively minded to break up play. You know, it doesn't have to be like a Nakamba, but even a Luke Berry, you know, who can run around, an Alan Campbell type player that can get the ball off players, you know, the Kraus that we haven't really got. I think that's my only concern in midfield, because I don't see Jordan Clark as that player. I like that Matt Bloomfield's playing him further up the pitch, though, where he can actually cause problem.
I thought Chung weren't too bad, but out of position. It is nice to see him back on the grass. Hopefully, we get to see him in his actual spot before the end of the season. And hopefully, he can actually justify the faith that Luton Town have put in him as a player. Because Ollie said it before, the best performance we've seen out of Tahith Chong is when he played for Birmingham against Luton.
So true.
Yeah. It is. I think that, I mean, Bloomfield and Chong would have been gutted, almost not gutted, obviously, that the goal went in. But immediately that makes that substitution a poor decision, doesn't it? Especially in the position that it was in.
Yeah.
Because then he's got to defend for the rest of the game. And I was thinking, oh, shit, he's going to be playing right wing back at a team that's going to be coming at us. That's worrying, particularly with crosses. I thought he coped all right, to be fair.
He did
Luckily,
do fine. Yeah, he
Yep.
tracked back. That's the main thing. He tracked back.
So I'm quite happy. I'm looking at positives. I'm a lot more optimistic now than a month ago. And, you know, it's nice to not be completely and utterly shit.
Yeah,
Isn't it, Joe?
Yeah,
I'll drink to
look on the positives. You know, like a month ago we were bottom, and now we're second bottom. So improvements, right? Yes, Kate, I am grumpy tonight. I'll
Yeah.
let
He
you know.
bloody is, isn't he? Jesus.
right.
My word.
Unbelievable. But look, look, none of us, all three of us who are in this conversation right now, had us absolutely nailed on down a month
Yep.
ago. And that is no longer the case. You can deny it all you want, but we are 2 points off safety. I never thought we'd be here with 7 games to go. I
Same.
really didn't see where this was coming from. And to be fair to Matt Bloomfield, I don't think he got a win in his first 7, was it? Or maybe it was 8, I can't remember now. But, you know, he has turned things round. You're right. It doesn't look pretty on the table still. But you can't deny that the last few performances have been miles above where we were, which was a low bar, but it's still miles above.
At least we have a plan.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do, and look, look, I said after Edwards went, I said the onus is now on the players. The players are shown they do care. Heart and desire, yes, maybe they're not good enough, but that's another thing. The onus is now fully on Gary Sweet because he let the bad smell that is Rob Edwards hang around for 2 months too late. And imagine if Bloomfield had been in and started doing this sooner. We'd probably be 18th or 17th. Who knows? You know, because we would have started hitting this form around about Portsmouth, you know, instead of having that delay, or maybe before Portsmouth. I don't know. There were some very winnable games after that Middlesbrough game. Yeah. Si, any thoughts before we move on to the next caller?
I'm just quite happy at the minute, mate. I know we've got Leeds next and we can come crashing back down to earth, but I'm positive. I'm liking what I'm seeing at the minute. Keep that defence going as we are, and I think we've got a good chance.
Oh, such a happy clapper, you.
Oh, yeah, big time.
At least you're still posting on the old Twitter, keeping that going. You never stop, mate. You never stopped. You kept the positivity going all the time. Right.
You know it.
Yeah, right. Let's get our next caller in.
See you later,
Thank
guys.
you, Si.
Cheers, Si.
Right. So I think it was Ash, then Tyler, then Matt. Okay. Let's bring in Ash. We'll get through these calls very, very quickly. Ash, good evening, mate. Thank you very much for your patience.
Evening,
How are
Ash.
you getting on?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you both?
Oh, I'm feeling
Yeah.
positive.
I'm feeling grumpy tonight.
You're over here
I
on the
know.
other hand.
I know you're feeling grumpy, but don't worry, we got some good news next weekend, haven't we?
Well, we're beating Leeds.
Yes, we're gonna smash them.
Smash 'em. Whew. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we'll put a dent in
Yeah.
their goal difference.
First of all, the reason why I think we're gonna smash them is because we've got a squad back. We've got all the players except you know who, Ross Barkley, and the other guy from what's it called, Arsenal.
Sambi Lokonga.
And there's a few injuries, but we still can do this. So I'm really positive about Leeds because we're at home, and we've got all the fans. We've got all the fans. If we can just go out there and just do it, then you will see like an earthquake.
I hope not.
in
The
the
Kennys held together with dried paint and chewing gum.
Yeah, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's going to be once we go 1-0 up, you will see the carnival atmosphere, and it's going to be you know, it's going to be an amazing atmosphere. I think all the fans are going to be up for it. I think the Leeds away fans, they will be a bit disappointed. We've been embarrassed. But that's the way it goes. You know, they got a dodgy goalkeeper. And you know what happened against Watford? We all remember Watford, don't we? At home.
Yeah.
Well, of course,
At
it's,
home,
it's
and away.
our only good performance of the season up until like the last couple of games. Yeah.
Sunderland.
Yeah.
Sunderland,
So I think we
yeah.
can do this.
Come on.
We've got the squad. Look, injury players are coming back. We've got more players, more defensive players. We've got a coach who you said, Ollie, is willing to get them to train on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna laugh. We got Chong back as well. They can put him up front as a striker, couldn't they?
Yeah, well, he doesn't assist, does he? Like, can you tell me, Ash, how many assists has Tahith Chong got this season?
Not much from the position he was playing.
0.
That's the problem. See, if they play more forward, you know. But we got the players. Like, you know, look, 2020 have done a really good job. We've got these players in. We got a lot of positives now. It's like, look, it's not that bad as it was before. We were sort of like the laughing stock, and now we could get some a reputation now for beating Leeds.
Portsmouth did it. It's not impossible.
It's not the write-off that it was not a week ago, a few weeks ago, is it? And I feel like a Sheffield United, Sunderland type performance coming. It's just whether or not we can start being more clinical. I'm just stating the bloody obvious, but you know, they're not going to give up load of chances. They're not, despite Messier being terrible. They're not going to give up lots of chances. So we're going to have to be right on it both ends of the pitch. But I can see it. I can see us getting something from it.
Yeah,
we need Harry Cole to stick it top bins, really, don't we?
Yeah, he was a brilliant player. But the good news is about Morris and Elijah. They're going to play against so-called Leeds teams. If you don't beat them, if you don't score against them, then you just win the Premier League and you scored all those goals. Come on, what are Leeds then? We beat Newcastle, didn't we?
Yeah. But we also chucked away a 2-goal lead against Newcastle. We beat a few teams, you know. But I think the players were playing up, weren't they? They were playing up last season, whereas now, like, they spent half the season being told by Rob Edwards, "You're amazing players. You're amazing players. You're too good for this league. You're gonna roll over everyone." And now we're in this situation whereby the crushing reality of being in the relegation zone, the players realise you got to graft. You got to graft if you want to win games of football.
100%.
Fortunately, now it's happening. I've been told the players don't like coming in on Sundays. Well, screw them, because you know, the amount they're getting paid, they should be training at night as well.
Yeah, they should. Like I said before, you know, get the bucket of water and fight on them.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not going to get faster, you know, Morris and Elijah, every time you don't score a goal, you know, become like the crazy gang, you know?
Get that bucket of water, get a flannel, put it over his face and pour that bucket of water over his face. Yeah. A little bit casual waterboarding.
You earn a lot of money.
Can we not invoke breaking human rights just while
Is waterboarding contravening the Geneva Convention? I wasn't sure about that. Oh, it looks like so much fun. I'm sure I remember when I was younger getting my hair washed. That's exactly how my mum used to wash my hair.
That's it.
That's for you and your psychotherapist.
But like, all I'm saying is those two basically, you know, just like the other teammates should do something like the crazy gang used to do.
Yeah.
You know, just chase them around the field or something, or in training, or get them to clean the toilets or something, you know?
Yeah, flip them upside down, hold them by the ankles, and like clean the toilets with their hair. There we go. That's exactly what we should be doing.
Or just
can we all agree at least that they are now? They are starting to show that they care, as Ollie said as well. All of them. I don't think there is a player in the squad now that isn't putting in the effort. And I will credit Bloomfield this as well. You know, we touched upon this, but he's been ruthless with players as well. Let's not forget, you know, under Bloomfield, you know, players have gone out, including Pelly. Now, I'm sure that wasn't necessarily his decision. But you've got Rule Walters can't have a look in anymore, which again I highlighted I'm not too upset about. Hashioka nowhere near the squad, etc. So it's clear that the players that he think haven't got the fight or haven't got the ability, that's it. And that is something that we definitely didn't see under Rob.
I think he's showing a good manager there, because last season, look how many own goals Hashioka scored.
He was prolific, mate. He got 3 in 4 games.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I mean. Is it point having someone? It's not his fault. He should have played in this level and given him the confidence. But you don't put him in the Premier League. That's why I didn't really rate this manager at the start. It was Nathan Jones's team. He was just lucky, and that's it, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Ash, any final thoughts before we head on to our next caller?
I think, let's all be positive. Look, it's so fun to watch Luton. We're so lucky to have a team like this. You know, what's the point of being number 10 in the league or something not to fight for? At least our fans got something to enjoy every week. It's one of the most exciting teams in the world, Luton. And I think we're going to stay up. We're going to stay up.
I hope you're right, Ash.
Take care, both of you.
Cheers, mate.
So much. Bye-bye. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah, exciting to the extent that I need an ECG every bloody week watching it. But yeah, I understand the point.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Like, can you think of many games or many seasons where we've actually just had
mediocre?
Yeah, exactly. Two in the last 10.
I mean, the Kiernan Dewsbury Hall season.
Yeah, that 21-22, and then we had the 16-17 season. Mid-table League Two. I think League Two. Yeah, I think it was John Still's first season. Although we did flirt with the playoffs, but then we sort of reverted back to the mean. Yeah. But that was our first season back in the Football League.
Yeah, exactly. We don't, and I mean, even that season that we finished mid-table, I think the last game was against QPR. It was a bit hairy at times until we beat Sheffield Wednesday, that 3-2 comeback. Around with that Eli goal. Up until that, I think it was pretty close. The points down towards the bottom, so that sparked it. Although I'd be quite happy with that right now. Anyway, that's long gone. So let's stop worrying about it.
Yeah, right. We've got our next caller in is Tyler from T Boys TV. Good evening, Tyler. You were at the game last night. How are you getting on, mate?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Actually, it's my first time that I've actually gone to an away game and then stayed for the night. You know, I went on the Friday night as well, so that helps. So I didn't have to go super early like a lot of other fans. But yeah, it was good to actually stay there for the longer time and actually have 3 points. First time I've went to an away game that we've actually won this season, so it was always good.
Is there much to do in Hull?
The Deep. Did you go to the Deep? That's the only thing I know about in Hull.
No.
Stunned silence.
It's basically like a big sea life centre.
Okay.
I don't imagine it was top of your list. Silence.
I thought it was a character from The Boys.
The closest I probably went to anything like that was probably the Docks, to be honest, with one of my mates who is a Hull fan. Just walking around really.
Walking around the Docks.
What
were you?
Like a 1920s black and white film about the Depression.
What was going on down the Docks? Oh my God.
So basically, we had to walk around that way because it was where he was. So he went to watch hockey. I think it was at like half five.
Okay.
It's just.
I thought it was going to be something really sketchy, just down the Docks. You know?
No.
Oh God! You should have gone to the Sea Life Centre. Right, Tyler, are you enthused? Are you happy by what you saw?
I guess when it comes from a defensive display, you've got to be, especially since Naismith obviously come in, we thought he would be so, vital to our team. And again, he will be, but you look at yesterday, he come on with the last few minutes, the Middlesbrough game, let's be honest, a lot of us probably thought he'd come straight back in, he didn't. So it's good to see that the defence without that, main sort of leader that everyone thought he was going to be at the back, it's good to see that we're still, really good in that sense. Christ, you have to give him massive credit, like earlier, mentioned the fact that he's, still very young as well, adapting to English football, just come in and settled in and looked as good as he has, massive credit to him.
He looks good from crosses, doesn't he?
Took me a while then to latch onto that.
Yeah.
No.
He's good to go again after 3 days. He doesn't need too much of a rest.
He will. I would say he's going to struggle over the Easter period. Though,
yeah, we'll see how he copes over Easter.
Sorry, Simon.
No, it's all good. But yeah, no, even massive. I said it in my match reaction. About Kaminsky. A lot of people have been saying, about his claiming from crosses. That has been a weakness of his in recent weeks. But yesterday, it was just everything that was coming at him. He just dealt with really well. The only criticism I do have, but he does it every game, is he kicks it out for a throw at least once.
Well, he does that straight from kickoff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What is that kickoff routine?
Probably happened about 3-4 times yesterday, to be fair. But I could count about 3-4 times. So that's the only disappointing thing. But as we know, shot stopping when he's called upon, like he was towards the end of the game when they had that chance, he done well. And, I thought it was an interesting one because, you look at it, Morris had a great chance, obviously fluffed it. Elijah, obviously hit the post. That was maybe unlucky, but I can still see fans' frustrations, because they're still not quite getting a goal. However, I thought from both of them, it was much better than we have seen. Especially from Morris in the sense of usually, when he's tried to hold up the ball, it's not been as good. He's lost it quite easily. He's not won a lot of, duels in recent weeks. I know he has throughout the season, but in recent weeks. So it's good to see that. The work ethic was there. I thought some of the, way we was getting stuck in. It sort of reminded me in a way of the Blackpool away performance a couple of years ago under Nathan Jones, the 1-0, the sort of way we just dug out. Because I'll be honest, them last 20 minutes, I was so nervous, and, they had some great chances, Hull, but it was similar to the reverse fixture at Kenilworth Road in the sense of they just couldn't find that chance to score when it was called upon. And, we dug really deep. McGuinness done really well again, obviously that vital block. And just defensively as a whole, we're just looking a lot more better. We just need to, obviously, take more of our chances. And, I guess when you haven't won much away like we have, it's sort of, one of them where it's always going to be a nerve in ending anyway for us as fans watching. But just the players trying to hold on, It's glad they did. Vital win. For me, I said it going into it. We needed to win it. And we did. So that's all that matters. And we kept that good record up against Hull as well.
It begs the question, what has changed under Bloomfield? Because the defence hasn't changed too much from the defence that played under Rob Edwards.
Yeah.
Other than increased Makoso, it hasn't changed much.
Though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just what he's trying to implement on the training pitch. Obviously, we see that it took a while, but even defensively, we did look good anyway in majority of games. Obviously, I know the only one I'd probably say under Bloomfield from memory was Oxford, but that was just a calamity, and that was just schoolboy errors. Like, that wasn't down to his decisions or anything like that. So it's just one of them where I look at it and I think, it's not like earlier on in the season where teams would run at us, whoever it was, and you'd just be nervous. Yeah, exactly. And it'd be played across and stuff like that. But I think as well, what also helps is, I know it's a bit different. It's not really the defensive sort of topic, but you also look at, set pieces, for example. We're not so reliant on Doughty. Look at when we had Rob Edwards, we were so heavily reliant on Doughty on every single set piece, and a lot of them were getting predictable, and opposition teams just knew what was going to happen. So I think that as well, on top of that, has massively helped. And, he's obviously trying to give the strike force, obviously confidence in themselves and belief. And like I say, I think yesterday they both performed better, bar Morris's chance. I think other than that, he was pretty decent. It's just we've got to that stage where we're going to have to take our chances. And, especially against a team like Leeds, as much as they've dropped off a little bit in recent weeks, they are a team that we saw in the reverse fixture as well. We can't really afford to sit back against, especially being at home. We have to give it a go, especially on top of that with the position that we're in.
Yeah, 100%. Any final thoughts before we go over to the next caller?
No, I don't think there's too much else to say really on it. Just a really dug deep performance which we needed.
Yeah, and as always, Kate has dropped Tyler's YouTube link into the chat, so make sure to check out Tyler at T-Boys TV. He does vlogs, he does watch-alongs. He's a good guy. We've friends of the pod. We've had him on down the pub at the Luton Town show. Thank you very much, Tyler. Appreciate it, mate. Right. We'll probably have time for 2 more callers. We'll bring in Matt. Matt, good evening, mate. Normally we always have an issue with Matt, don't we? Like we bring him in and then he's we bring him in and then he bounces straight out, right?
So far muted.
Muted.
While Matt's unmuted, I was going to ask Tyler, but I'll ask you as well. The other kind of controversial figure in our side, Amari Bell. How did you feel he did in that game, and probably against Borough as well? Because I don't know about you, I was surprised to see him in the starting lineup. I wasn't so worried about him taking an injury. It was more Jones. How do you feel he did?
He was all right. I do think it's his final season. He's hit the 150 game milestone. I dread whenever he's got the ball. He has that one trick in his locker, the trick where he says he's running with the ball and then he just changes direction very quickly, but he hasn't got the pace that he used to have, so the player can kind of keep up with him.
Yeah. I tend to agree. I think he tracked back better though, didn't he? I think he was. Yeah. He didn't get beat much down the side, but I agree with you. When he's got the ball and he's the last player with the ball,
you're dreading it.
I panic that he's going to do something stupid. And he did give the ball away a couple of times, and luckily we flooded back to cover. But yeah, you do worry slightly there because he just hasn't got the calmness of a Cal Naismith to do the right thing. You feel like he's thinking too much about it.
Why was Cal starting on the bench when Amari's come back with an injury from international break? I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Especially with the knock. But clearly Bloomfield likes him. He said it publicly, hasn't he, in press conferences as well. And look, they got 2 clean sheets in a row, that defence, so I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
I wouldn't really believe what he says in press conferences. He also said he was impressed with Walter's second half performance against who was it? Who was it? He was terrible.
Sunderland? Was it the Sunderland game?
The Sunderland game. He was absolutely stank in the first half, and then Bloomfield comes out and says, Walter's really impressed me in that game. I was like, well, I guess if it's chalk and cheese and you're comparing, by the second half, yes, he wasn't caught out of position multiple times, resulting in goals. So I guess that can be judged as an improvement.
Yeah, you're probably right. Look, I think Bell has been better. Definitely better than where he was, and he was in a, but there's definitely concerns there. It's nice to have Cal as an option, but I agree with you. I'm surprised that he started on the bench as well. Just while we can see if Matt can make it on. There's a few comments. Alex is a Cov fan, looking like a big game towards the end of the season. Yeah, it is going to be a big game. That one, and again, a bit like West Brom. I guess we're kind of hoping that it's done and dusted for Cov by then, but that's less likely considering where it is. We do have a good record against them at home, but and they're less convincing away. It's one of the ones I think that we could get something from. But anyway, it sounds like Matt's here, so I'll stop.
Wait, we got Matt.
It was here.
Good evening, Matt.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I can hear myself on your end.
Can you?
No, I can't
Not
now,
anymore.
so that's
Not
good.
now.
Yeah. How you doing, Matt? What are your takes on the recent uptick in form?
Much more solid. You just asked a question about what's changed defensively between Bloomfield and Edwards. I think having a settled defence is probably a massive thing, because I think we've now played the same three at the back 3 games in a row. When was the last time that happened? Not this season, not last season, probably.
Yeah, very good point. Do you think maybe cutting out the group hugs has probably helped as well? Rob Edwards going around massaging everyone's calves individually, giving them gentle kisses on the foreheads.
Having a settled back 3 also helps Kaminsky, so
yeah, it does.
Settled back 4. So yeah, I think that's a massive part. The football's still not particularly good, but it doesn't really matter at this point of the season.
No,
it's better at home though, isn't it? I think at home we are playing a much better brand of football. But you're right, away from home. I mean, that first half against Cardiff, but you know, we're not conceding when we're playing badly, which is or not playing as fluently, at least, as you were saying.
And I think the good thing about yesterday is that I couldn't pick a man of the match, which tells me that everyone played with a decent enough level without anybody standing out. We played more as a team than we have done for the majority of this season. Because I literally could not pick a man of the match yesterday.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. Yeah. Come to think of it, I can't really, I'd say outstanding man, Kaminsky, but not to the extent of like previous games earlier on in the season where he was the man of the match because we would have lost by like 5 or 6 without him. Man, for me, it was a good performance from Kaminsky because he commanded his box, won his aerial balls. I'd say McGuinness was good. McGuinness was very good, and the block on the line was very, very important. But you're right, Matt. There were no standout players. Everyone just did their job that they're paid very handsomely to do so.
Yeah, it was a classic NJ performance yesterday. Keep it tight, nick a goal, hold on. Thank you very much. He'd have been jumping in that away end if he was in charge.
Yeah, no, exactly. I've got a question about the club accounts that are due tomorrow, Matt. What do you think there's anything untoward going on about the fact that they've been so delayed?
Not necessarily, because the job that I work in, I see a lot of people submitting their accounts late. So, and not just football, I'm talking across the world, people. So I don't think so. I think people will like to look at that as an easy target to assign some blame this season, but I don't think them being late is a massive shock.
I think the numbers could piss
numbers
off
will
fans,
tell a story. The numbers will definitely tell a story, but I don't think them submitting them late will tell a story. I wouldn't look too much into that, if I'm honest. Okay. Unless you want to stir some shit up on social media.
Oh, well, I stay away from social media. I just thought it was very weird because I would have thought, like, the club would have had their ducks in a row financially and would have had this done very early. The only reason I think they're getting delayed is because they're waiting for good news, waiting for wins. They were hoping we'd get out the relegation zone to drop that, because I think the numbers.
Yeah, don't forget, the club won't be submitting the accounts themselves. They'll be submitted by chartered accountants, and they're horrendous. the club just give them the numbers, but the actual how it's put together to go and be published will be done by an external company. And like I say, in my working life, I've seen it so many times where they go late. Even companies I've worked for that are huge, talking like global companies that are all over the world, they're late all the time. So yeah, the numbers will tell the story, not the how quickly they submit them.
Well, I'm
So-
waiting with bated breath, because if they don't get it in tomorrow, we have to pay a fine. And yeah, the numbers, as you say, will tell a story. And right now, where things are not going well, could be an easy target.
Oh yeah, what did they say? The devil's in the detail.
Yeah, I can't wait for Kieran Maguire to analyze and scrutinize. But I guess they got to be on company's house first of all, so people can have a look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm feeling more positive about us staying up, but the only thing that makes me nervous is I think our destiny's in the hands of Preston.
Yeah, I don't think it's Derby that we're going for. I think
No, but have you
it's,
seen Preston's fixtures?
I
They're playing
have
all of
not.
them, Ollie.
Are
They're playing all of
they?
them, Ollie. And Sheffield Wednesday, both of those teams I was saying earlier, as Matt says,
Preston's
Sheffield Wednesday
next-
and Preston. Playing all of
Preston's
them.
next 3 fixtures are like Derby, Cardiff, Stoke, I think.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah,
they
you're right.
really? Hang on, let me pull up
And
Preston.
they've got to play Plymouth and Hull, I think. I think they've got 5 out of the last 8 against the bottom 6.
Let's
I
have a
think
look
we're
at
the only
this.
ones that aren't playing them.
Blimey! Derby,
Yeah.
Stoke, Cardiff, Leeds, QPR, Hull, Plymouth, Bristol City.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's wow.
If you look at
Wow.
If you look at the table, they're only 10 points outside the playoffs. The people that think they're going to down tools, if I was Preston, I'd be thinking we got a shot here at making that late run. They've got a game in hand on everybody.
Mm.
Well, hopefully the getting dumped out of the cup didn't make them upset and lose their impetus, because that would be fantastic. Like, I think Preston are going to be my second team moving forward for the rest of the season. Come on, Hecking Bottoms, Barmy Army. Never in doubt. I didn't
Doesn't have a
notice
ring
that.
to it.
Well spotted, Matt. Wow.
Yeah. And Sheffield Wednesday, they pretty much got the same.
The Sheffield
yeah.
Wednesday have down tools, haven't they? And they're actually ahead of
they're the
Preston.
bigger worry. They're the bigger worry for me, because I mean they've just played Cardiff, so that was one of them, but they've got to play a few more round us.
They got Oxford as well. Yeah, Hull, Oxford,
right.
Stoke.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think
blimey.
it's maybe just 3, but yeah, you're right. I think though, Matt, on the flip side, as I was saying to Ollie earlier, remember those teams have also got to play each other, and that does help us. But all we can do is win our games. I think that there's still difficult fixtures in there for a few teams, including Oxford have got a horrendous run in. So it's one of those. But sometimes what this championship's like. It's impossible to make predictions based on fixtures. We would be absolutely certain that Leeds weren't going to lose at Pompey, maybe, and then turned out that was the start of this streak that they're on. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? All we can do is get points from our games and hope.
Yeah, ultimately, when we had 10 games left or something similar, we all looked at it and said, Cardiff, Hull, Stoke, Derby, we've got to win all of them. We've done 2. We've done 2 out of 2.
Exactly.
We've done all we can do.
Exactly that. Yeah. I was going to say as well on this, in terms of fixtures, the week after the Leeds game is the one to watch for me, because we play Blackburn at home, but in the same breath, I think both Stoke, Cardiff, and maybe one other have got really tough fixtures at that point or play each other. That's huge. That's the week to gain points on teams above us. So we just got to hope that we are still within touching distance after Saturday against Leeds and then Tuesday against Stoke.
You know what that Blackburn game will be, though, don't you? That'll be the Reading game of the Great Escape.
If this Blackburn team beat us 5-0, then I think we can all go home and accept our
will.
fate.
I think we got to let them play Corley Woodrow.
Yeah, let him have him. He nearly lobbed the keeper about 40 yards.
Yeah, after he bodied a player. Do you see that?
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see
Completely
it.
bodied a player, and then watch that Corley Woodrow chance. It was hilarious. It's the most physical I've ever seen Corley Woodrow play. Right, Matt. Thank you very much for joining us, mate. Any parting thoughts, rallying cry for the remaining 8 games of the season?
Keep the faith and keep backing them. Saturday's massive. We can get something out of Leeds because we'll turn it into an horrible, nasty game. Can't outplay Leeds, but we can outfight Leeds. So everybody in that ground's just got to get behind the team.
Here. Well said, mate. Well said. Thank you very much for joining us. Right. 10:05. We've overrun a little bit. That's Luigi in the chat. Luigi, you have missed so much, but we are finishing now. So you can actually go back and re-watch it. So you can watch from the beginning. It's an hour of pure, packed fun. You'll absolutely love it. Ryman, any parting thoughts?
I can't really do any more than echo what Matt said. I think, we make Kenilworth Road what we know it can be in those home games, and we can get some really important results. We know we've got to get a result against Stoke. We know we've got to get a result against Derby as well. After that point, really, it's all on our home form and the way things are going. There's some definite positivity there. Yeah, I think we can do it. I really do. Things have changed a lot in the last couple of weeks, so keep the faith, everybody.
Keep the
2 for
faith
1.
indeed.
2 for 1. Come on, Gary. Get that in your account.
Yeah. We'll see the state of the accounts. We'll see. I don't think the club can take another 2 for 1. We'll see what happens. Right. Yeah, everyone, thanks for joining us. Everyone watching back, I hope you enjoyed that. Everyone watching live, hope you enjoyed that. Remember, hit the subscribe button if you're watching, and the like button as well, although I don't know how that works for live videos. But everyone, take a second right now, hit that thumbs up button. There are a bunch of people here. Hit the thumbs up button. Don't know what it does, but hey, why not? Worth a try. Everyone, have a great rest of the Sunday and have a good week. Most importantly, come on, you Hatters.